We must change our approach as Americans. We must hunt down, imprison, and prosecute every single person who commits acts, who supports acts, who aids in attacks, and in any way sympathizes with terrorists.
Okay, so let's talk about Syria. Lots to talk about. The country no longer exists. It was created in the 20th century. It was destroyed in the last 3 years. The government of Bashar Assad is in charge of the areas around Damascus and a couple of coastal areas north and south, and that's it. And if it wasn't for the Russian intervention, would already be out of power. If you remember, there were red lines drawn by the United States and the European community 2 years ago that said he will be removed from office immediately if he crosses the red line, everybody knows that, using chemical weapons against his own people or any weapons of mass destruction, or if he refuses to give up such weapons. All three things happened. Does anyone know what we did?
No.
Absolutely nothing.
Yes, Muslims were involved in American history, but in a very, very bad way. And if you read Thomas Jefferson's writings, he makes very clear that his study of the Quran led him to believe that unless there were changes, it would be difficult for the Muslim culture to assimilate into the new American culture.
That is fascinating.
We are about to make a horrifically bad decision when it comes to American foreign policy that could affect us domestically and internationally for generations. There is now cooperation going on behind the scenes between the other Arab states, most prominently Saudi Arabia and Israel.
This JCPOA has gone from a treaty to an international agreement to a series of understandings to an outline to a series of goals. And based on the fact that they violated almost everything they were supposed to do by now on certain signpost dates, 10 days ago, we gave them $150 billion. We're giving one of the most collapsed economies in the world the means and the financing to do everything they've wanted to do and have been unable to do since they took over with the Iranian Revolution when they overthrew the Shah.
Graham, aloha. First of all, you're right. The list of breaches by Iran ever since the deal was made by Secretary Kerry in Geneva is legendary. In world history, I can't imagine a worse amount of capitulation by the West against the bad guys since the West turned over and surrendered to Hitler in the late 30s. People expect a president to lead by example and by policy.
Hillary came out today on the campaign trail and said, it was never classified when it was on my servers, therefore I'm not at fault. The law is completely different. The law says it's either classified, could have been classified, should have been classified, and the person who has that on their email server should have known.
My whole family was in Auschwitz, including both my parents.
Care to guess what Iran is going to do with the money? Well, if you pay attention, you don't have to guess. They've already announced it. Iran is buying over 100 super advanced modern Chinese fighter jets. They'll be paid for out of the $150 billion. They're buying the most sophisticated Russian missile defense system, which has been ordered and will be paid for out of the $150 billion. Supposedly, they're going to get the ICBM missile system from North Korea that's capable of reaching into Europe and North America, which is going to be paid for by the $150 billion. And its various terrorist proxies around the world are literally announcing on the internet that they have been promised substantial funding coming from Iran. I understand the Holocaust, and I never knew my grandparents, and I never knew my aunt, and I never knew my uncle, and I never knew my cousins. They're still there, so I get it. They're still in Poland, in the ground. So thank you for your question, and God bless you for your opinion.